Survivors tell their stories in hopes of saving another.
I so appreciate the awareness within this community and the advocates and the professionals that are working to support survivors. And we also know that this is an issue that continues to need attention.
Abby Hansen is the Chief Program Officer at SafeHouse Denver. Each year, Colorado's Domestic Violence Fatality Report brings new attention to those who lost their life as a result of domestic violence. That report shows a troubling trend.
I'm really concerned that we are seeing an increased number of victims who are under the age of 25, and there are guns used in the domestic violence incidents themselves.
According to SafeHouse Denver, in 2020, 20% of the cases involved a victim under the age of 25. In 2021, 23%. And as of September of this year, 25%.
This is the highest number of young people that have come forward to report domestic violence that I've seen in the last number of years. And what is particularly concerning for me about victims who are under the age of 25 is often those survivors have children, have very young children, or are pregnant.
We're also seeing an increase in gun violence. SafeHouse Denver found in 2020, 6% of cases involved a gun. In 2021, that went up to 8%. And as of September of this year, up again to 9%.
A gun doesn't necessarily have to be discharged for the perpetrator to maintain power and control. Threats with firearms is often enough to really scare and intimidate survivors of domestic violence.
Domestic violence shows up in many ways, whether that's isolation, reproductive coercion, or manipulation, even escalating to physical, verbal, or mental abuse.
Whether or not you know it, you likely know somebody who is right now experiencing domestic violence. And so these numbers are staggering, but it also means that there are resources and support available through SafeHouse Denver and so many other community-based organizations.
Raising awareness takes more than survivors. It takes a community.
It's really difficult when we see that survivors who are already struggling with limited resources and who are experiencing trauma and crisis and safety concerns, to really put the burden on them to reach out. Sometimes that's not possible. It takes the rest of the community to do that.
Community. That's the key word here when it comes to noticing the signs of domestic violence. Just one of many things that many people need to be able to reach out to someone who is struggling or who is going through it, because oftentimes people do not want to talk.
You asked a really good question about whether some of these numbers that we're seeing, the numbers now, if they are related at all to the pandemic. And your answer was really interesting.
Yeah, you know, one thing about the pandemic that you have to think about, many people were locked up at home. So therefore you were locked in a home with your abuser. You don't have the courage or have the ability to pick up the phone and call anyone for help. So the lines were essentially dry during those times. After, you know, once people were able to get out the house, that's when you're seeing your friends and family members and they're starting to notice the differences about you. You may have the courage to pick up the phone and call someone at that point in time. So during those 2 years, their lines were essentially dry, but now they're getting calls after calls after calls. And some of those calls are lethal and they're scary.
Yeah, that's the good news and the bad news, right?
Yeah, I think that's the one thing when you look at it and you easily see this rise in those who are younger. You're having more incidents and more cases happen, but you're happy that they have the courage to come forward.
Absolutely.
All right. Darius will have more coming up on Channel 20 when we go over there at 7 o'clock this morning. I know you've been working hard on this and it's really important, so
Yeah,
thanks.
Definitely. Thank you.